In preparation for the upcoming season, I'm doing player profiles on each of the Magic players just to better understand them as a player, what they bring to the table, and try to project what they're going to bring to the team this upcoming season. This profile is going to be on one of our more divisive players, Jett Howard. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Magic fans, by Magic fan. I'm Edwin Valentine, and I want to thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. You got to do the normal YouTube things, hit that like button, share the video, drop a comment below on what kind of year you think Jett's going to have this upcoming season. And if you're so inclined, hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on any content that I'm producing. If you haven't seen any of my previous player profiles, basically what I'm doing, I'm acting as if I'm scouting the player. So I have a little bit of intel on them so we get to know them a little bit better as people. Also, I have a look at their stats from the past season, as well as some video so I can see if I can find any tendencies, any strengths, and any areas for growth. So let's get started with some intel on Jett Howard. His name is Jett Howard, son of Jawan Howard, small forward, shoots predominantly with his right hand, 6'8", 215 pounds. He was born on September 14th, 2003 in Chicago, Illinois. That season was the season that his father, Jawan Howard, played for the Orlando Magic in the 2003-2004 season. He spent one season in college. He was at the University of Michigan, just like his father. In the 2022 to 2023 season, he played 29 games, averaged 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. After his 1 year in Michigan, he decided to enter the NBA draft and was drafted 11th overall by the Orlando Magic. Now he's been with the Orlando Magic organization for 2 seasons, but one of them was primarily spent with the G League team, the Osceola Magic, where he played very well down there. The second year, it was his first full season with the Orlando Magic. So if we look at his stats overall with the Magic so far, he's played in 78 games. He's averaged a little less than 10 minutes, averaged a little less than 4 points, 1 rebound, and about 1 assist, and about half a stock if you look at it there. So we had 2 lottery picks in the 2023 NBA draft. We chose Anthony Black with the earlier pick. So that second pick in the lottery, we were looking for a shooter because if you look back a couple seasons, that's definitely what we needed on the team. So instead of choosing a player like Grady Dick or a guy like Jordan Hawkins, the Magic chose Jett Howard instead. It's also where some of the narrative is really starting to kick in that we could have had other shooters like Grady Dick or Jordan Hawkins. This is why the draft pick is having a little bit more weight on it, because we look at these other players and we're like, oh, they could have been contributing to the team, while Jett is only averaging less than 10 minutes and not really contributing to the team in general. So that's where a lot of that weight is starting to pile on to him. There's nothing much that he can do to that narrative other than start to shoot better, because in his time with the Magic, as you can see there, he's only at 30% or 29% 3-point shooting, where the other guys are over 30%. And if you're drafted to be a shooter and you're not really hitting the shots, even in the limited amount of time that you're getting on the court, that really starts to weigh on your status within the team. And it's going to be something that's going to keep you from getting on the court, especially if you're more of an offense first guy on this team, because obviously we have a culture of defense with the Magic. And if you're not where the team wants you defensively, then you really got to be hitting on offense. And right now, with him not hitting on offense, it's keeping him from getting a lot of playing time. So hopefully he's hitting his shots more in the training camp and in preseason this upcoming season so that he gets a little bit more run. But when you look at the depth chart of the team, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to crack that nut. So he might end up being traded, and that's going to be something that you're going to hear a lot this season about Jett. If you hear his name, it's likely going to be about different trade options for us to get off of his money and try to get someone that can contribute to the team. Now let's go through his stats. Obviously, with such limited amount of playing time, his stats aren't going to be really eye-popping. So last season, in the 60 games that he played, he averaged more minutes than he had, a little less than 12 minutes per game, averaged about 5 points, one rebound, one assist, and again about zero point 0.4 stocks per game. So not a lot of not a lot of playing time, not a lot of real big defensive possessions really from there. And I think that's going to be the thing that is going to keep him back, especially if he's not hitting a shot, as I mentioned before. So 30% shooting, if you round up, it was up to 30%. And for a team that was starving for shooting last year, if you draft a shooter and he's not hitting his shot, then that's really going to be the thing that affects his playing time. So if you look at the second row there in the traditional splits, that's per 100 possessions. So he jumps from 13th on the scoring list for the team last year to 7th when you put it in per 36 minutes, or if you do per 100 possessions. In this very, very limited amount of time, he can score. Again, he wasn't the most efficient. And when you'll see the highest percentage of his shots are from three, and if you're only hitting 30%, that's really going to keep you from getting more opportunity. And he just happened to come onto a team that was looking to win now. It wasn't in 2021, 2022. If he would have been drafted a couple years earlier, then he would have probably had plenty of opportunity to show what he can do because the Magic weren't trying to win. But the time when he got drafted, the Magic were already looking to win. So he doesn't really have a lot of opportunity to find himself along the way because we're trying to win now, especially moving forward from where we are financially and where we are in the Eastern Conference. We have to start winning, and it might be hard if he's not hitting shots for him to get that opportunity, unfortunately. So if we looked at the advanced splits, again, 12 minutes per game, the offensive rating for the whole team while he's on the court is 103 points per 100 possessions, and the defensive rating is 108.7. So just like most of the Magic team, just because of how he performed last year offensively, he's a negative net rating at negative 5.7 net rating. If we look at some of the other metrics, really all the metrics, nothing's really going to stand out other than him being a shooter and shooting 30%. The last section there is from the website Cleaning the Glass. If you haven't seen any of my other player profiles, I'll give a quick explanation on it. The colors there are just to show you which percentile they are. So the redder it is, or the more orange it is, that means the better the percentile is. The more blue shows that the worse the percentile of the stats for his group are. So he's considered a wing, which means that he is a shooting guard, small forward. That's how they break up each one of the players. If you're a point guard, you're a point. If you're a point guard and shooting guard, then you're a combo guard. If you're small forward and a shooting guard, you're a wing. If you play both forward positions, you're a forward. And if you play power forward and center, then you're a big. So he's classified as a wing on their website. His usage, as you can see, is 17.1%, which is in the 60th percentile for wings. So that just shows you also when he gets into the game, he's shooting. And that's going to be something that we'll go over in the film, that he's definitely not afraid to get the shots up, especially in the way the Magic play. The Magic don't really play very fast paced. So I think that Jett would have really played well in the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns because he's launching with 17 seconds left, with 18 seconds left, the shot clock. Like he is shooting. So if you look at his points per shot attempt, it's only at 98.1, which is in the 8th percentile. So again, that just shows he's not being very efficient with his shots, especially because most of his shots are three-pointers, and with him shooting such a low percentage, that's going to take a hit. The assist percentage is at 10.2%, which is in the 43rd percentile. The usage to assist is definitely going to be a lower number since his assist percentage isn't very high and his usage is relatively high for the amount of minutes he plays. So he's in the 30th percentile at 0.6, and his turnover percentage is at 13.5% in the 24th percentile. So if we look at the efficiency, basketball is a difficult game, of course. We know that you have to be tall, you have to have very good hand-eye coordination, you have to be able to shoot and keep the same repetitive motion over and over again. So when it comes to physically playing basketball, it's obviously difficult. But if you are looking at just the stats, really the biggest four stats you're looking for is what kind of shots are you getting? Are you getting good shots, which is what effective field goal percentage is trying to find? Are you turning the ball over? That's the percentage that shows there. Are you controlling the rebounding? Offensively, obviously, you're giving yourself more opportunity to be able to score the more offensive rebounds you get, as well as are you able to control the defensive rebounding, keeping the other team from getting their offensive rebounds? And are you getting to the free throw line, which is easy points? Hopefully, if you're shooting a good percentage. So those are the four factors. So technically, there's 8 factors because you're worrying about them on offense and on defense. So if you're looking at his stats here, in his the first line there is his difference, and that's the difference between points per 100 possessions on offense and defense. He's a -5, which is in the 34th percentile. So on offense, his points per 100 possession is 108.1, which is in the 17th percentile. Effective field goal percentage is 50.2%. Again, while he's on the court, which is the 9th percentile. Turnover percentage is in the 17th percentile. Offensive rebounding percentage is not so bad, which is great, but that just shows that there were a lot of opportunities for offensive rebounding. So that's something that the Magic did do pretty well because it was so difficult to score so often for the Magic last year that at least they were doing a good job of getting on the offensive boards. He's in the 73rd percentile on that, and the free throw rate was in the 76th percentile while he was on the court. Now on defense, the Magic weren't the greatest in holding down the other team in the field goal percentage game, but their defense, their second ranked defense, was more predicated on taking the ball away from the other players. So that's why you see most of our guys have a high percentile in defense turnover percentage. But if you look at the whole thing, he's in the 67th percentile. So while he's on the court on defense, the team allowed 113.1 points per 100 possessions, 41st percentile in effective field goal percentage, 90th percentile is 16.8%. The turnover percentage, offensive rebounding percentage is low. That's not great, but a lot of the times he was playing, it was third string against third string because it was a blowout. So in that respect, we didn't keep the other team off the offensive boards that well. And the free throw rate, just like all the rest of the Magic players, our free throw rate on defense wasn't great just because we fouled so often, and that was just part of the defensive philosophy of being very aggressive, and we were getting called for the fouls, and that's just that. To look at some of the strength that he had last year, again, not to belabor the point, but with his field goal percentage being as low as it was, especially from three, he's not really going to be in the highest percentile in a lot of different categories. His best one was his spot up in 60 games played. His points per possession went 1.09 points per possession on spot ups. So that put him in the 65th percentile when it came to spot up shooting overall in the league. So now how he scores. So the scoring splits in the 60 games that he played, if you look at the split of his field goal attempt, he shot 29% of his field goal attempts were 2-pointers and 71% of his field goal attempts were 3-pointers. So again, he's a shooter. That was what he was brought in to do, to come and shoot threes. And you'll see in the film that he got them off when he was on the court, but he just didn't have the opportunity that often. And with such a low percentage, kind of is what it is. So if you just look at the percentage of his points that came from 3-pointers, it was about 62% of his points came from 3-pointers. That's how he was getting most of his points, were from 3-point land. You look at his shot distance, primarily a 3-point shooter. So 185 of his shots were from 3-point land, and you have to round up to get to 30% overall for the season this past year. His mid-range game wasn't too bad, especially from 10 to 16 feet, but he only had 7 shot attempts. So in that one, if the 3-pointer isn't going, then maybe he needs to come in and at least get the 2 points instead of missing and getting 0 points out of the possession. So in that respect, again, low usage inside the arc, but on the outside the arc, that was where he was trying to make his imprint, and unfortunately it wasn't going as well. Now again, I contend that he just needs a better opportunity. I don't really want to trade him. I'm not saying that we should trade him, but just realistically on this team, it's going to be unlikely for him to be able to crack the rotation even if he shoots better in the preseason and even if he plays better in the preseason and through training camp, unless there's an injury, I don't see him going to be able to raise his level of offense so high that it's going to gloss over the defense that he has, because we have a couple offensive leaning players on the team with Paolo and Mo. They put in the effort to continue to stay within the philosophy of the team, and their offense is so good that we can kind of gloss over their defense because they're so good on offense. So that's what Jett really needs to do, play so well on offense that we overlook a little bit his defense. So now if we're going to look through the film, so a couple of the things that really stood out to me on the film was, again, how fast he played, which it looks out of sorts with the rest of the team because the team played so slowly so often last year. So when you see 16, 17 left on the shot clock and his shot is out, you're kind of like, whoa, like that, we didn't grind out that possession. So again, he also mostly played when the team was down by a lot or up by a lot. So he didn't really have to worry so much about his shot selection. He was just launching. But you'll see, I'll point out a couple times where he played in the second quarter or he played in the third quarter, or due to injuries, he was playing more. And there would be some very suspect shots that if you're a coach or the player development person for him, I think that's where you might be questioning some of his shot selection and some of his mechanics when it comes to shooting. So if we started off here, this is a game against Charlotte. So we see where we are in the shot clock. 15, he's out and he's launching. Now, from the corners, he actually shot pretty well. He shot about 37% on both the left and right corner, which is not too surprising for a lot of the Magic players. If you've noticed through these player profiles, a lot of them shoot better from the corner, but just in general, the team didn't have an offense geared towards getting those guys those shots. And some people like Jonathan Isaac or Tristan or whatever, they just weren't high usage. So they weren't shooting them when they had the opportunity. So that's both ways. It's the coaching staff putting them in the position and also them just shooting. If we can put Jett's philosophy into those guys and they're just going to launch no matter what, then that might be better for the team overall. But we just definitely need to make sure that the team's corner three is something that they continue to develop and have the geometry of the offense start to be geared towards shooting more corner threes. Unless you're Desmond, because Desmond shoots better from the above the break. So Desmond could stay out on the outside. Tyus could stay on the outside. Everybody else really should be trying to focus on getting to those corners so they can get easier 3-point shots. Here's another of those corners. So again, from the left corner, 37%. From the right corner, 37%. See, these are blowouts. So 17 left in the shot clock, launching it. And there's another one, 18 seconds left in the shot clock, launching. And that was in the first quarter. And shots like these are why you're like, oh, okay, like this is a shooter. This is a guy that again can hit difficult shots. Then so often you have shots like these with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you're down by 4. These are the type of shots he also shot last year. Yee. So I think that's kind of the roller coaster you're playing a little bit with him when it came to shot selection. A little above a break. Again, he can hit from above the break, but it's just not something that was a strength of his. Coming off screens, you would have thought that his coming off screens numbers would be better, but that also didn't wasn't the case. See, if you look at a lot of the shots, like this one is going to be a nice little pullback miss. The game's out of reach in a lot of them. This one's a deep one from the center there. A lot of the times he was playing in games that were out of reach, so he was just able to launch, which again is not a horrible thing. It's not a horrible thing, especially if you're needing playing time to get into rhythm and you need to get those shots up, especially again if you're a shooter. So in that way, you can't really fault him because again he has that gunner mentality in him. He's gonna shoot. He gets the ball, he's gonna shoot. I'd like for him to be able to hold the ball a little bit better. Like it almost didn't feel like he had the ball in his hand a lot of the time when he was shooting. Like it's not radioactive or it's not a hot potato. So you can you can actually catch and shoot instead of just flicking the ball. But he just went through really cold streaks, but that's also again I feel through the playing time. So I'm gonna be that person that defends him, especially when you're looking at him versus Grady Dick or him versus Jordan Hawkins. Like obviously they are getting much more playing time, so their stats are much better. Now, if you look at the numbers per 36, then the numbers are a little bit closer. Obviously, they still have the edge over Jett, but it doesn't look as bad as it does now with Jett only scoring about 3 points per game in his entire career, while they're in double digits. So it's due to playing time partially as well as role. New Orleans and Toronto haven't been really trying to win the last few years, so they put those guys out there to succeed or to fail. The Magic are not at that level right now when it comes to the life cycle of contending. So Jett doesn't have that opportunity. So this is where again I think if he had more playing time, if he went to a place where he can get more playing time, get those shots up, then his percentage would get better and his overall play would get better. Because I think he also he's sneaky good, he's sneaky okay getting the ball to his teammates as well. We have a little package here with his offense, but you see, there's so often that with 18 seconds left, 17 seconds left in the shot clock that he's just going. Here's another one of those tough shots that he's able to get as a shooter. But then these are the ones from the right side. Again, 37%. It's nothing to sneeze at. He just wasn't shooting a majority of his shots from the corners. For whatever reason, the Magic as a whole were shooting mostly threes from above the break. 37%, still pretty good. Again, he's a player that I think teams would be able to use. I just don't know if it's going to be necessarily with the Magic. Nice shot. Then shoot deep when he still hits it. So you can see there's a wide range of nice shots, and then it'll just kind of just airball entire shots off the dribble. Hits that one. He's ready. He's locked and loaded. This guy. See, but you can just see that it doesn't feel that he gets himself set a lot of the time. So that's where likely his shot like that one that was way off. But why was he shooting it so quickly? I think is where the question comes, and it's a fair question. If you're looking at his game and you're just wondering why are you shooting so quickly, I don't mind so early in the shot clock. That to me isn't as bad because the Magic do need to play faster. That's something that this upcoming season, hopefully they do. Hopefully they get guys in transition more. Hopefully they're able to just start some offense. It's going to help them have their points per game go up. That likely will mean that their defensive possessions will also go up, which means that they may not be as highly rated on defense, but we have that trade off as we're able to score 10 more points per game, but only give up 5 more points per game, then of course, right there, that differential is going to be worth it. And we need to play faster. We have the defense. When it comes to the playoffs, we'll be able to lock in and play defense. That's not going to be a problem, but we definitely need to get our points up in general. So shooting early in the shot clock, to me, that's not a big a deal from Jett. It's just the lack of catching, collecting, getting into the pocket with regularity and getting his shot off, especially above the break. So often it just feels like he catches and throws it. It's like a it's like a hot potato. He just catches and throws. He catches and shoot instead of actually taking the ball, getting into the pocket, going up and shooting with confidence. He's definitely got the confidence. He's just shooting the ball, but it's a matter of doing all the little fundamentals to get that shot to be at a higher percentage because that's going to be his only way to get on the court with any team in the NBA. So now here's from inside. Like we saw, he could get a little bit better with his at the rim stats and his mid-range game. Again, a lot of these you see 20-point leads. So he's not really in crunch time, but there are times like in this game he is. He just was always a little off. And I think that's just from it was his first full season in the NBA. He just needs to get more comfortable. Needs to get more time. I just don't think that's going to happen with the Magic, unfortunately. Again, though, I don't, nice back cuts, good drives. The ball handling is not bad as well. So he has a lot of the offensive tools that you would like. Good size, 6'8". He just has to get that shot to be more consistent. And his defense, obviously, like that's going to be that. But I don't know if he's going to ever really be the defensive stalwart that any team would need. But as a guy coming off the bench, that could be a fire starter that is just going to be instant offense. I think that's something that could be his role on a team. But it could be with the Magic as well. Like I don't want him necessarily to be traded. I just don't know where the rotations are going to sit where he would have the opportunity to play more. Because even when we were injured last year, he played, but he didn't play that much. A lot of those minutes ended up going to Tristan. But you see, he can make really difficult shots there. He moves well without the ball. He uses screens pretty well. He just didn't shoot well, so that's why he wasn't very high in the percentiles with a lot of these stats. There she goes. Nice cut there. It's that one as well. There's another one. Tries to use the pick and roll and just blows by. Nice. Again, he played a pretty good game here in Dallas. He had a few good games. There's a Utah game and a Dallas game that a lot of his stats came from. But he knows how to play without the ball. He knows how to relocate. I think he can play in this league. Like there's some guys that you see and you're like, man, I don't know if he can play. He plays well. He can also make good plays for his teammates. You saw his assist percentage wasn't horrible. There's a nice little pick and roll with Mo. Again, a little pick and roll with Mo. Get his guys in the dunker spot with Wendell. There's Tristan cutting. He found his teammates, and he wasn't. He's not some just ball hog that just shoots constantly. Even though the stats might say that, I think he's if he had the ball more, I think he would really be able to facilitate an offense. It's a nice little alley oop to Goga. He's gonna have a nice little alley oop here to Wendell on the pick and roll or the show and roll. Nice little alley to Franz here. He's able to spray the ball out. It's always nice when the ball hits the paint and gets sprayed out for wide open shots. Here's another one, final one for AB. That's kind of where I'm feeling. Like I've said before, I don't think he's had necessarily the best shake when it comes to opportunity on the Magic, but that's just the reality of the situation. The team is where it is right now in its cycle for contention. They aren't going to just sit around and wait for projects anymore. So that's where unfortunately you're going to hear his name a lot in trade rumors this year because the Magic should try to get under the tax this year because we're going to be super expensive in the next few years. And he's a likely person to kind of just plug, and another team might take a chance on him because he is a lottery pick and he does have pretty good size and he has the ability to shoot. If you look at his 3-point percentage in college, it was closer to 37% as well. And we saw Tristan didn't shoot super well in his first full season in the NBA. So I just think both Tristan and Jett, I think, are going to shoot better this year. I just don't think that Jett's going to get the opportunity that Tristan is. So, in that respect, what do the Magic do? Do the Magic just trade him and try to get picks back? I doubt anybody's going to give a first round draft pick for Jett. They might get a second rounder from that. It's likely going to just be salary filler because he's a lottery pick, so he makes pretty good amount of money. that might just be. So it'll be one of our bigs plus Jett to try to get a player of impact back. That's just everything you're going to hear this season. The Magic are going to be in people's mouths in general. You're going to hear the Magic over and over and over again, just on different power rankings or in different trade rumors or just in different narratives, which is great because it's just more opportunity for people to talk about the Magic, and that's something that is going to be great for us in the long run. Maybe not so great if you're Jett Howard or one of our bigs because you're going to hear your name a lot in trade rumors, and for some of them, this is the only place they've played, so it's going to be quite an upheaval if they do get traded. But hopefully, Jett comes out and starts shooting threes at a 45% clip during the preseason, and the Magic are able to find a way to incorporate him a bit more. Now, that might just be because the Magic are going to be killing teams, especially at the beginning of the season. So if they have big leads, then he's going to be able to play and be able to showcase his ability to have had a better 3-point percentage, to have better playmaking skills. Because again, after only one season in the league, it's really hard to just project, oh, this guy's a bum now, or he's not going to be able to play. It just stinks for him that the Magic are now trying to contend and are going to be very expensive and need every one of their draft picks to really hit. And if they don't hit, then they have to make tough decisions sooner instead of just watching the project and seeing if that project will develop and he will develop. So that's where we're at. I feel Jett is an NBA player. He's not one of those guys that you see and you're like, he's going to be in the G League or he's going to be in Europe in a few years. I don't believe that. I think he has a good enough 3-pointer. He has good enough size. He has good enough playmaking that he should be in the league. I just don't know if it's going to end up being with the Magic because of how hard it's going to be for him to crack the rotation unless we have bad injuries through the season. And even last year when we had pretty bad injuries, he did play more, but he didn't play enough really for it to manifest into better stats or anything like that. Now, I'm guessing Mosley is one that seems to be bringing on his rookies or his young players slowly. So Jett might start to get a little bit more playing time, but with the addition of Desmond, it's just going to add more depth in the wing position that I don't really see it really happening in the end for Jett. But hopefully, if it's not with the Magic, he's able to succeed, and it's something that I'm excited that he's on the Magic right now. I think everybody on the team is going to get better at shooting, just because we can't get, like a knock on wood, we can't get any worse than what we were yesterday. When you have to look in the record books to find the last time a team has shot so poorly from three, it's not great. So just statistical regression to the mean, I think they're all going to end up shooting better this upcoming season. So hopefully that also includes Jett and he's able to have more of an opportunity to play. And if not, then hopefully he is traded to a place where he does get that opportunity so he can succeed, because I think he's going to be a good NBA player over the course of his career. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think what I'm saying about Jett is totally wrong or totally right. Just drop a comment below letting me know your thoughts on Jett. And again, do the normal YouTube things. Hit that like, share the video, drop a comment like I mentioned, and if you're so inclined, hit that subscribe. We're getting real close to 200 subscribers, so let's try to get over that mark before the beginning of the season. I want to thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you're having a great day.